we are live. So just remember, keep your microphone off and we will be set. So today we are starting Scratch. This is really exciting. So what we're gonna do, you should have already read that our agenda for today, we're gonna learn how we can log into our Stoller Scratch accounts. And I know a lot of you have your own Scratch accounts, that's fine. I want you to use these when you're working at Stoller. We're going to learn how to update the profile. So we can do that. And then we're going to talk about the rest of this week's module. Okay. So first things first, I'm going to start a new share. So if you get kicked out, just come right back. And remember, I've got the recording. So let me go ahead and grab this right here. There we go. So right here, you should be seeing my iPad screen, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to use that because it just helps to be able to describe what we're doing here. So the Stoller Scratch accounts, just like it says in our, on the next page in the module, the Stoller Scratch account is it's complicated. And the reason why it's complicated is that every year I have to make about 500 new accounts because that's how many sixth graders there are. Like pretty crazy. Last year I made 550. This year it's closer to 487, but still that's a lot of Scratch accounts. So, and then what happens is a lot of times your teachers from previous years will make an account with your initials and your student number. And it makes it so I can't use that. So, because what I want is that I want to be able to kind of like, control that account just in case something goes bad. And not only that, but if you guys do something inappropriate on Scratch, like I want to be able to reach out with you and talk with you about that. Normally in school, I would kind of like hunt you down and have a conversation about that. But here, I'm probably going to reach out to you and your parents. So, and then we can have a conversation. But what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to log into those accounts today. Now, one, remember that these accounts are public on the internet. And number two, remember, I know some of the people that work at Scratch, like I've had conversations with them face to face, which is kind of crazy. And they know who I am and they know who our account is. So I just want you guys to know that, that I know them, they know me, and I know you. So when something goes wrong and you do something on Scratch that may be inappropriate, I wanted to really reflect well on you and on Stoller. So just remember that's a thing, okay? So so when you do things on your Scratch account, know that they should reflect well, all right, on everybody involved. So so there we go. So here's how we log in. So what I do is give me a thumbs up if you know who or you are kind of a fan of Star Wars, or at least you've watched the latest trilogy. Give me a thumbs up. Yep, I'm seeing a bunch of hands. Yes. So I'm getting a question if we can go into breakout rooms. We are not going into breakout rooms today. So just a heads up. No, the answer is no. But we will in just a second to keep going. So so here we go. So this first, so what we're gonna do is, so your Scratch account is kind of like, you guys know the character Finn. His name was FN2187, right? His clone name, but everybody called him Finn. Like FN2187, who knows what that really stands for? But that's the kind of thing that we're actually going to be, or like that's kind of what I want in your head while you are looking at this account. This account is kind of like your clone name. All right. So let's talk about what a fictitious student's Scratch username would be. Okay. So this fictitious student, her name is Janice Student. And her student number is 123456, right? And she goes to Stoller and she is in Red Hall. Oops, there we go. So I want you guys to kind of think of that, right? That's the fictitious student. And we're going to use this fictitious student to show you how to figure out what your clone name is, or your Scratch name is, and for the account that I've created for you. So what you're going to do is, if we look at it, so that particular student, you're going to need to know all of that information for yourself, and you should already. And by the way, I want everybody paying attention, because it's really important you pay attention here, so that you're not actually like texting other people, you're not messaging. I see a lot of people stretching and stuff like that. Stretching's fine, but just make sure that you guys are really thinking about this, okay? So I really want you, kind of like paying attention here. All right, so so first off, what we have is this student, this fictitious student that I've created. She goes to Stoller. So the first two letters in her Scratch username are going to be ST. All right, and then she's a sixth grader this year. So her graduation year is 2027, right there, right? 2027. So the next two characters are going to be 27, and she is in Red Hall. All right, so she's a sixth grader this year, so, and she's in Red Hall, so the next letter is going to be R. All right, so, and then after that comes a there we go, comes a underscore. So that part of the username is going to be the same for everybody here. All right, so just remember that. So yours is, or actually, I'm sorry, the first four characters. Then if you're in Red Hall, it's going to be R. If you're in Orange Hall, you know, it's going to be O. Oops, there we go. If you are in Green Hall, it's going to be G. And if you are in Blue Hall, it's going to be B. All right, so whatever letter right there. And then we've got an underscore. Then the last name for that student is student. So then the first initial is S. All right, now this is really important. If you have two last names, all right, so if you have two last names, I took the letter from that first, it was basically the first letter of whatever appears in that box. Does that make sense? So if you have like a hyphenated last name, it's not two letters, or if you have two last names, there's a lot of students out there with two last names. It's whatever appears, whatever letter appears in that last name box first. All right, so, and then the next letter is J in this case for Janice. And notice that those are backwards. All right, a lot of students get going and they're like, oh, wait a minute, you know, they put in the like JS instead of SJ. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have the student number, and the student number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? We need the last three digits of that number, so it's 4, 5, 6. All right, so that's a really complicated username, but it is like that, and it's complicated like that so that I can actually make those usernames. All right, then the password is going to be, so it's going to start with the last initial, but it needs to be capitalized. All right, and then the first initial also needs to be capitalized. All right, and then it is the whole student number, and this is the password here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this right here is the username, and this right here is the password that I've created for you for Scratch. So what you're going to do when you get this, don't do it right now, okay? If you wanted to write yours down on a piece of paper while we're talking, you can go ahead and write that down real quick, but please don't enter it into Scratch yet. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to go to Scratch, okay? And then you're going to go ahead and log in, all right? And when you see Scratch's webpage right here, just like this, scratch.mit.edu. Don't go there yet. If you want to write down that username and password, I see a lot of people writing it down. Somebody just put a Post-it note up. That's a great idea. Then you're going to click sign in. You're not going to press sign or join Scratch because I've already created these accounts for you. You're going to press sign in and then type that in. as your username and password. Okay. And then, as like I said, what I've already done is I've created accounts for you. And what you're going to do is you're just going to have to log into that account. Okay. So you notice like I've got 100 students in Green Hall, 179 in Red Hall, Orange Hall, 89 students in Red Hall. That's how many students you've got in there. So if you're new this year, you've got an account in Scratch for your hall. Okay. So, so I see a couple questions in there. Not yet. I will answer that. So for instance, if your name, so just, actually I'm still sharing my screen, aren't I? So like I said, so if your name is like Janice Student, right? So like that. So the first name is Janice, the last name is Student. So then the user or the password would, or the username would look like this. Your initials would be like this, and your password would be like this. So they're backwards. And the reason why they're backwards, I can't show you right now. But the reason why they're that way is because when I was building the program to create them, and I'll show you guys later, not on my YouTube live stream. But so yeah, so that's what it's going to be. So now, once you're logged in, and by the way, you're going to go to scratch.mit.edu. I'm sorry, I showed this. I didn't switch the screen share. You're going to click sign into Scratch, and you're going to put your username and password. Okay, don't press, oops. You're not going to press join Scratch. You're going to press sign in. That's really important. When you sign in, it's going to ask you a couple of things, like what's your birthday and what country are you in? All right. So it's okay to put your birth month and year in there. They're looking to be accurate, and they want to know how young kids are that have Scratch accounts are. This is a place where you can be truthful on the internet. It's always very important to be truthful on the internet. The second thing it's going to ask for is the country that you're in right now. Even if you were born in a different country, even if you usually live in a different country, they want to know where you're using Scratch. And right here, right now, you're in the United States. So that's what you're going to use. So, and there's a lot of questions. I'm seeing those questions. I will go over them in just a minute. So, because remember, I said pay attention. That was the important part. I wanted you paying attention. I didn't want you writing things down, or I'm sorry, I didn't want you trying to sign in. Once you get signed in, though, what you're going to do, and this is going to be your task, you're going to click on the top right and click on Profile, and then you're going to update this. So you're going to make an avatar. This avatar is right here. All right. I've given you two avatars. One is a little easier than the other, avatar makers. And then you're going to put the About Me section. So what I want you to do when you update the About Me section, what you're going to do is you are going to make sure that you're putting like true and accurate information in there, but don't put like super specific information, because, and this is really important for being on the internet, you don't want to overshare on the internet. You should be safe with like personal information, right? You do not want to overshare on the internet. You should share like truthful information, like I like soccer, or like, you know, my favorite team is Manchester United, or like, you know, Michigan, I'm a Michigan fan. Like, that's fine. Like, you know, things that are true for lots of people. You don't want to tell them where you live. You don't want to tell them where, you know, like even the city or the town, things like that. You just want to be like, you know, like you could say, I'm a Timbers fan. Like that would be fine. But don't get super specific about where you live or what school you go to. The other thing that I want you to do is update what you're working on. So if you're just learning to code, you could say, I'm learning to code, you know, or something like that. If you are working on, you want to make a platformer game, what your goals are, like that kind of thing, you can put that down. That's totally fine. But just make sure you, you know, just be honest, something basic. You do not need to write a huge, long paragraph. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go and right here, so it says this week's module, this is what you're working on right here. And by the way, I kind of went through this right here. the getting started with Scratch. Here's the overview. This tells about what we're doing here. And then getting logged into Scratch. This is what we just went over. So if you need to read it over, that's totally fine. And then this right here is what you have to do to update your account. Okay, now we have Avatar Maker right here. So this one is better than this one. And the reason is Scratch needs 500 by 500 PNGs. And this one gives 400 by 400. So that's kind of cool. This one, like, I'm going to just kind of take you through it real quick. Like, I don't care which one you pick. I really don't. Okay. But when you are making an avatar, this is really important. Make sure it's respectful of you and of groups of people. Like, I really, like, if you want to give yourself purple hair, that's fine. If you want to give yourself, you know, like green skin, that's fine. I don't really care. What I want you to make sure that you're doing are being respectful of real people. Like, make sure that you're doing that, and also like make sure you're being respectful of real groups of people. So I don't want anybody being disrespectful of different races and things like that. Okay, so that's the only thing I care about. Like, I mean, like, I want you to show us who you are. You know, like, you know, and I don't care which one you pick. Just make sure you're being respectful. That's all. So, you know, you can design your own avatar. When you're done, here you press download 400 by 400 PNG. When you're done, download it and then upload it. I'm not going to upload because I've already got mine right there, but you're just going to press the change and then choose your avatar like this. Okay. Now I'll just show you that this one won't actually work. Okay. So if you get this error, you need to figure out how to shrink it. And I'm not going to do that for you. All right. So just to show you that one doesn't work, and that's unfortunate. But so that's what you got to do. So, and then once you get that profile updated, all you're going to do is screenshot. And remember, screenshot is control and then the window switcher key. If you want to be specific, control shift window switcher key, and then you can drag and update. And I want to see that whole profile like that. Okay. When you get that, what you got to do is you got to go and you press submit assignment, choose file, and then grab that screenshot. And I've got way too many screenshots today. Way too many. You just grab that and turn in that screenshot and then submit assignment, and you are all set for today. All right. Then you guys can go ahead and take a look at what's going on. So after you're done, what I want you to do is to go back to Scratch, and you're going to press create, and you're just going to make something cool, and you're not going to turn it in, but just go ahead, kind of play around with Scratch. If you're totally new to Scratch, that's fine. Like, click on tutorials and click on get started. All right. You can do this tutorial real quick, right? If you're totally new to Scratch, or if you haven't used Scratch in a very long time, you can do that. If you've used Scratch for a while, you can go ahead and do one of these tutorials, or more than one, you know, do something cool. Right? That's what I really want you to do. Go do something that you're happy to show off to other people. All right. That's what I'm excited about, is that you guys are creating things that you guys are excited about, you all. Once you're done with that, you just go ahead and make something cool. The next class, what we're going to be talking about is this. We're going to animate the GIF that you created. But if you haven't created that GIF yet, it's really important to get that in. All right. So if you are still kind of struggling with work from last week, know that this is going to be actually a super simple week. It's going to be pretty light, and you should have plenty of time